Basketball fans, welcome back to another episode of the Grind Never Stops podcast. I'm your co-host Steve again. In this episode, I'm going to preview the Southwest preview of the NBA because I'm a Houston Rockets fan and a Knicks fan. As a Rockets fan, my favorite players are Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. I'm a Yao Ming fan and a Houston Rockets fan since 2002, ever since Yao Ming entered the NBA draft, the Great Wall of China. So the Rockets, my favorite team last season, they are 17 and 55. The Rockets have a good start from the beginning of the season last season. In the beginning, of course, in beginning, after when big man Christian Wood got injured, like around the middle of the season, just like a sense. After when Christian Wood gets injured, the Rockets went seriously downhill from both ends of the floor because they have nothing for their strengths. However, though, you should watch Kevin Porter Jr. He basically scores the rock. He's more like he gives you 20 to 30 points per game. And yes, he can shoot free throws. And yes, he can attack the basket. But his problem is he can't play defense. Then you have the undersized big man Daniel Tice, an undersized big man that can switch in all five positions. And then you have Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr.'s sidekick. And yes, Jalen Green can shoot mid-range. I'm hoping that Jalen Green is not like James Harden because James Harden, he's lazy at times when he plays defense through the years. When he's a Houston Rocket, and yet he's inconsistent how he plays defense was worked at the entire NBA career. But let's keep this simple. The Rockets are a rebuilding team. They're trying to look bright for the future. The next team is the Dalles Mavericks. So the Mavericks are 42 and 30 last season. The Mavericks right now are like the Dallas Knicks. Franklin Keenan, the Frenchman. Kristaps Porzingis. Trey Burke. Reggie Bullock. Tim Hardaway Jr. Jason Kidd, the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Knicks, folks. Their go-to guy is Luka Doncic because he's crafty when he has the ball on his hands. But a sleeper defender. And one thing you don't want to do when Luka Doncic is under pressure, when he has the ball under clutch, he's basically money from 3-point range. That means cash money. Wells is new. So Rick Carlisle is gone. In comes Jason Kidd. Kidd's brought in because Luka Doncic, he gets very tired of losing in the playoffs. Would that be enough to convince Luka Doncic to become a Dallas Maverick? The next team I'm going to talk about is the 38 and 34 Memphis Grizzlies. Last season, I just don't get their identity. Offense, can they score? Can they play defense? Do they have 3-point shooting? There's questions everywhere. Then you have John Morant. They're trying to rebuild, as you know, from last year, and then let's see what happens this year. right now they're like a rebuilding team right now to start the season. His perimeter defense, it's horrible. But big time scorer, shooting threes and being the ATM machine at the line. All offense everywhere, dominant. Just can't play defense. The Grizzlies tries to get bigger from the front line. Notice that they're trying to get big and try to pound the glass. That's another word for rebounding with that starting lineup. You should take a look at Steven Adams and Jackson, who went to Michigan State for college basketball. Because behind the big man, Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams, if these two guys get injured, let's say Steven Adams subtracts Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson, the bench is undersized. When you have the undersized bench, it'll be just like last year. I'm not so sure about their defense, just to continue. In other words, just like last year. And the defense is pretty bad. The next team I'm going to talk about is the San Antonio Spurs. They are 33 and 39 last season. Greg Popovich, bravo. And yes, I root for the USA in the Olympics. The Americans got the victory over the France, for the gold medal in Tokyo. I thank Greg Popovich, and yes, that's coming from a USA fan. Pop likes to run the swing offense, which means tons of pick and roll and tons of passing. Now, running the swing offense, there's a weak spot with this offense. There's just too much passing. If the man is open inside for 2 points or shoot the jumper, especially when Stephen Curry, this will do an example, is wide open. Would you pass it to Stephen Curry right away? Because you leave Stephen Curry wide open, you knock it down 100% of the time. And you better take advantage of it, or you're never going to get it back. And it will matter later. But the swing offense is made to confuse defenses with ball movement. You know, the Spurs didn't do well last season on both ends of the floor. They have personnel issues anyway. But right now for the Spurs, who's their go-to guy? Because they don't have one. And then the next team we'll talk about is New Orleans Pelicans. So they are 31 and 41 last season. So we have Zion Williamson. The problem with this guy is he's bad at the free throw line, and yes, shooting threes. He does have the ability to shoot threes, but he's bad. Horrible. And another problem about him is he's an undersized power forward. He's 6'6". And yes, he can dunk. Really dunk. But otherwise, he checks all the boxes. You know, the Pelicans' offense last year, They're 26th in the league from the 3-point strike, which means the offense stinks because of their 3-point shooting. In comes Jonas Valanciunas. He's brought in because of that reason, improved the 3-point shooting. But I do have questions. But let's see some evidence with his defense. I'm not so with his defense. He has to prove to me this season that he can defend. But remember, key thing is his awareness. How smart is he? And also, here's another thing about Jonas Valanciunas. Can he guard smaller players if the defense wants him to switch? Meaning, the switch means like how well you ask your teammate to guard a specific bond when someone's near. That's what switching means. Can Jonas Valanciunas can do that? Can he do that this season? Well, the predicted winner of this division, I'm gonna go with the Memphis Grizzlies because of the front line. I like their size and rebounding. I picked the Mavericks in second place. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I hope you basketball fans enjoyed this preview of the Southwest Division. I'm Stevie Coles again. I'll see you next time. Signing out, folks.